Roll4Crit.com presents How to Play Cthulhu Wars in 5 minutes or less or more. Cthulhu Wars puts you in the shoes of an elder god and its followers, fighting for honor and supremacy over mankind. It's pretty much all right there in the title. Designed by Sandy Peterson and published by Peterson Games. The goal of the game is to get the most Doom points, which you'll gain by conquering and holding control of various spots on the board. At the start, you'll pick one great old one to represent you, and place 6 of its acolytes or cultists and a gate on your starting space. You'll get a whole bunch of other figures to play around with as well, but they need just a little bit more time in the oven. Cthulhu Wars revolves around a system of power. Each turn you'll have a certain amount of power which you can trade in order to carry out various actions. Each player gets to choose one action before the next player takes one action, and so on and so forth until everyone is out of power and is forced to pass, or chooses to pass prematurely. The actions that you can take on your turn are as follows. Movement costs 1 point per figure. You can move multiple figures for 1 point each to any adjacent space. 3 points of power will let you build a gate. A gate can be built on any region of the board that doesn't already have one and that one of your acolytes occupies. They get you more power each round and allow you to summon monsters. You'll need at least one acolyte in the area to stand guard over said gate so that nobody else can take control from you. You can spend various amounts of power to summon one acolyte or monster. An acolyte must be spawned in a space with another of your units. Monsters must be spawned in an area with a gate that you control. Of course, in addition to regular monsters, each player has one large figure for their Great Old One. Each Great Old One has specific, unique instructions as to how they can be summoned as an action. The Old Ones function more or less just like any other unit, but they tend to be a hell of a lot stronger. If you've got a monster in a space with another player's acolyte, you can spend a point to capture said acolyte. However, acolytes can't be captured if they have a monster in the same space protecting them, unless the other player has their Great Old One out, which overrides smaller monsters. Finally, there's battling. You know, the whole war part of the game. It's kind of a big deal. Once you're on the same space as someone else's figures, you can spend 1 point to declare a battle, choosing only one other player's units if there are multiple players occupying the same space. Each player then rolls a certain amount of dice corresponding to their monster's strength levels indicated on their faction cards. For example, acolytes have a strength of 0, and monsters' strength levels tend to vary from 1 to 3. If you roll a 6, that's a kill, and your opponent must remove one of their figures from the board for each 6 rolled. Same goes for you if they rolled any 6s. Then, 4s or 5s are pains that force you to retreat and send your figures to any adjacent space. Any other result is a miss. Certain units may also have pre- and post-battle effects that you'll need to watch out for. After all players have passed, power is redistributed based on the state of the board. Players get 1 point of power for each active acolyte, 2 for each gate they control, plus 1 extra for any gates that nobody controls. You can also get a point for each acolyte you've captured from another player. No player can ever have less than half the amount of power as the player with the most power when a round begins. If they do, they get to round up to half that number. Whoever has the most power also gets to go first in the next round. Once power is taken care of, players receive a point on the Doom track for each gate they control. This is how you win. Then each player has the opportunity to perform a ritual of annihilation. At the start of the game, the ritual costs 5 power. Each time that someone performs it, it moves up the ritual track and usually becomes more expensive. So the longer you wait, the more it's going to cost you. In exchange for said power, you'll receive extra points on the Doom track, 1 for each gate you control. Choose the right time to make this move and it could help you out, although you'll have less options in the next round. The ritual also earns you an Elder Sign token for each Great Old One you currently have on the field. Elder Signs are chosen randomly and award you between 1 and 3 Doom points toward winning the game. They're kept hidden from other players until you decide it's appropriate to reveal them. Players also have a set of 6 unique spell books that can be acquired throughout the game. On your faction card, you'll see 6 spots describing different feats that you must complete. Once any of them is complete, you immediately choose one of your spell books to place in that spot. It is now yours for the rest of the game. Spellbooks usually provide you with new actions you can perform on your turn, or game-changing effects that will make you more powerful. Each faction also has its own special abilities and rules that often completely contradict other things that I've mentioned in this video, so make sure you know how to handle them. The game ends as soon as one player reaches at least 30 points, or if the ritual of annihilation will be performed when the ritual track marker is at the 10 spot. Then the player with the most points who's completed the most spellbooks wins. In conclusion, build gates, spawn monsters, summon Cthulhu, war. Cthulhu Wars. That's Cthulhu Wars in a nutshell. Did you get all that?